How much credit do you want for Greg Sankey saying the SEC will likely get rid of divisions? Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. But the first thing we need to unpack is, yes, I was right. Good for me. Greg Sankey was speaking today over in South Carolina, and actually our buddy Mark Ryan, who I do a hit with every week via radio, good friend of the program, he actually had a quote from Sankey earlier today. And Sankey was talking about future scheduling. And he said, apparently, and I'm paraphrasing, he said the future plan, once OU and Texas come here and you have a 16-team conference, the plan is to just do away with divisions and just have one division, I guess. You have 1 through 16. You have a conference. There are no divisions in there. And we're going to, I guess, take the best 2 teams, regardless of where they play, and we're going to put them in the SEC championship game. And if you watch this program, you're already saying, wow, that sounds familiar. And yes, that's because we have lobbied for that for quite a while. We're not the only ones, but yes, we've been very vocal about this. So it's good to hear that people in Birmingham have been tuned in. The issue here is as basic as it gets. For those of you wondering why this is such a big issue, the issue is very basic. Teams don't play each other enough. It's that simple. Georgia has still not played a college football game at Texas A&M since A&M came to the SEC. When did that happen? A decade ago. They came here in 2012. And I still have not seen Georgia play at A&M. I've only seen A&M go to Georgia once. I was there. It rained. It was not the best of environments that day. So teams don't play each other enough. The other thing that immediately comes to mind is, okay, well, how's this going to work? And it's like a 3 or 4-pronged kind of series of questions I would have. Number one, obviously, this would be a far more dynamic scheduling model wherein you're playing every other team in the conference a lot more frequently. I think a lot of you are wondering the same thing I was when I heard this. Okay, well, are you protecting rivalry games? How many rivalry games are you protecting? For example, you know Bama plays Auburn every year. Bama also plays Tennessee every year. The Bama-LSU rivalry has come to be one of the most predominant rivalries and premier rivalries in this conference over the last 15 years, with a few years exceptions. Are you going to keep all 3 of them? I don't necessarily know that that's going to be the case. And if that's the price that you pay for moving ahead with what I would absolutely call progress in this case, then so be it. I don't think there's going to be a world where Bama doesn't play Auburn every year. I doubt there's a world where Bama doesn't play Tennessee every year. There may be a world where Bama doesn't play LSU every year. We'll see. The second thing is, are they going to be smart about schedule releases? This is a message to the entire country. You can just listen as I speak to the SEC. Look, if you guys are going to go ahead and overhaul everything else about this sport, in some cases, things that don't need to be touched. In this case, this does need to be touched. But if you're going to overhaul everything else, can you please get a grip on scheduling and understand you don't need to release them 10 years in the future or even 2 years in the future? Could you give me a schedule release event in February before spring practice? Could we do it, in this case, what the NFL does? Because even I am not so blind as to admit there are a few things that the NFL does better than college football. And one of them is the Bengals don't know they're playing the Chiefs in 2027. That's not normally the way that works. The way it works is you tune in on schedule release night, and they tell you who you're going to play that year. And then you get ready, and then you play the games, and somehow they make it work. In college football, apparently you need to know who you're playing in 2037 for some unknown reason. So I also wonder if they're going to get a hold of that. Be a leader, not a follower. The third thing, and it kind of correlates with what I just said, is it randomized? Or is there going to be a model that's laid out, therefore I still know who I'm playing well down the road, so there's no point in schedule release, I guess, other than the order that the games are going to be in. And fourth, which is really first, because this is the argument they're really having, are you going to have 8 or 9 on the conference slate? That's probably where the bulk of the argument still is. I tend to believe Greg Sankey had far less pushback on switching to this kind of model than he does on whether they're going to play 8 or 9 conference games. So those are some questions. No, to answer the first, even though I have every right to claim credit, I don't think I'm going to claim credit for this one. We'll probably bump into a few more proper predictions in the near future, so I'll let this one slide. But thank you to everyone in the SEC League office. Guys, thanks for watching Late Kick. Make sure and leave a comment. I love interacting with you. But most of all, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's how we keep all of this free.